morning, Inkies. I hope you are well. Today's next two videos are going to be like go hand in hand. I'm actually going to be journaling in both of these journals, one on one video, one on the other. As you know, this is my Hobonichi, and I did mention in my vlog or my creative bits, I'm not quite sure where I mentioned it, but I said that every now and then I would be working in this on camera to get some of it done because I'm a little bit swamped and my personal time at the moment is very limited. So I still want to keep this up because I feel like I've spent the money on it, I want to use it, and I want to sort of get back into getting there. I obviously am way behind because just life got in the way with being sick and the kids been sick, Lily's rashes, just a whole monotony of reasons why I haven't actually had the time to journal in here. But I want to do some of it on camera, so at least I'm getting it done while still getting some work done. And it means you'll see me journal in a different style because I journal in my Hobonichi in a very kind of different-ish way to how I journal in this. So I actually want to journal in my two journals doing the same theme, kind of, because I wanted to document us getting our zoo passes again. We re-signed up to become zoo friends, which meant we got a yearly pass, and I didn't realize it at the time, but it has been a huge game changer in my way of thinking. And I'm going to do a series on that soon. I'll do a chat video about it on here, but the series will actually end up on YouTube because I feel like it may not appeal to everyone as patrons, but that is talking about becoming a low waste, zero waste family and how I'm going to tackle transitioning our family over into that thing, and especially when it comes to this side of it, my work side of it. And I have spent the last 2 days researching and reading and just like information overload to the point where I've like barely slept in the last 2 days because I feel overwhelmed by it all. But I know it'll be a really good transition for us, and it all started with crazily signing up to become zoo friends again, because we were zoo friends years ago when we first moved to Sydney, because the kids had never seen anything like this. Being country kids, they'd never been to Sydney, they'd never seen traffic lights or anything like that, never been on an elevator, never been on an escalator. Yeah, it was that crazy. So when we moved to Sydney, we decided as a family we'd buy the Zoo Friends card, and that was back in 2014, I think, so 4 years ago. And recently we just signed up again to become zoo friends, and that was because I decided that I'd like to spend some time sketching animals and all that sort of thing. There'll be a video on that later on when I get enough footage and stuff like that. But it also was the Kickstarter for this change in our family. A lot of other contributing factors have contributed to it, but there's a lot of things that I need to think about, especially when it comes to my work and how I'm going to tackle it with what I do and how I do it, and what changes I can do. Obviously becoming as low waste as possible, but with my work that makes it very hard. But it also means that there are things that I can do that I can refuse to do in order to try and help that change. And that means no single-use pens. I'm a sucker for a black pen like everyone else, but from now on I'm going to use the pens that I have, and I will only invest in fountain pens that can be refillable, and my Copic markers that can be refillable. So any single-use pen I am going to avoid like the plague, and that is just one small step that I can do in my artistic life. Being an artist is going to be super hard. I'm also going to look into like obviously we have the Inky D-Stash group. If you're not part of it, if you're in the top tier, it is in the sister group of our Facebook group, so you can see it there. Trading art supplies to get supplies that I'd like to do. I've done that in the past, obviously, but that's going to be something that I do a lot more, and trying not to, and just using what I have instead of bringing more stuff into the house. Just being really conscious and mindful about what I purchase. That means that any purchases that I make will be extremely thought out. They will be investment purchases, because there'll be something that I want to use for a really long time. Buying secondhand where I can, and that sort of thing. So there's a few things coming into my home at the moment. A couple of leather covers by Not Sojourner, by a few other people that have asked me to do reviews for my channel, that sort of thing. And I will probably sort of stop shopping quite a lot, especially when it comes to art supplies. I honestly don't need art supplies, and this is going very, very off track, so I'm going to stop this, and that will be a chat video later this week, or maybe next week. I'll see whatever, but it does involve this little baby as a information hub. But yes, I will chat about the concept, but it will, I think, end up on YouTube, because I know not everyone's going to be really into this sort of thing, but I think it's food for thought. And when you think about it, it really dawns on you how wasteful our society has become, and I am part of the problem, and I would like to be part of the change. My family is part of the problem, and I would like my family to be part of the change, and I would like to teach my kids while they are still young to change as they grow up, so they make a difference in the world as well. And we have to lead by example, John and I, in order for our kids to follow our example. And so I'm going to be talking about how we're going to transition and all that sort of thing slowly over the next couple of months. It's going to be a huge, long process. It's daunting, it's crazy, it's intimidating, but I honestly think it needs to happen, because if everyone does a little bit, then big things change. And so we are trying to do our little bit for the environment and for our wildlife and for our animals, for our children's future, basically. So I'm going to get off my little bit of a soapbox there, but I am going to be doing a lot of journaling this month, the Journal It Out month, because there's obviously the Journal Keeper series coming, and then showing you different ways to journal, how I journal in here versus here, using the same sort of concept. And also, what was the other one? The stripped back journaling, and going back to basics, and talking about my older journals and how I've talked about this a little bit before in previous videos, but I'm going to focus a lot more on it, and how you can journal without doing all the craziness. Like, all the craziness that's in my journal does not need to be there. Like, literally, you need a notebook, a pen. You don't even need a notebook. I mean, I'll never be a digital person. I love analog way too much. And that's sort of like one of the things that people touch on, is becoming analog, like, I mean, fully digital. And I'm just not about that. I want my journals to be around for as long as humanly possible. And they will be treasured, and I hope they will. My kids, I'll kill my kids, man. I'll like haunt them if they get rid of my journals. So that is what is going to happen. Today I'm actually going to work on the big beastie girl, because I spend a lot more time thinking about composition with this baby, and I need to work out what I want to do for the spread in here, because I have photographs from the zoo from a few trips. We've been 3 or 4 times now, and we've had our cards just over 2 months, so it's already paid for itself, the price tag of what we paid to become zoo friends. So I have some bits and bobs, and this was me journaling because I started doing morning pages, and then I got sick, and then so now I need to go back in and fill them in and just change the date. But this is when I decided at the start of Journal Keeper that we need to change. We need to change. It's as simple as that. And you may be down for it, you may not be, but we need to change, guys. We need to change how we view our supplies, and having things for forever items instead of right now items, if you get what I mean. And I am super, super guilty of it. I'm not being holier than now. I know I can look around and see a billion trillion pens that are single-use pens, and once they run out, they're done. So no more. No more. It's not happening. And if that means that I'm buying more expensive items that I can reuse and refill, then so be it. I will not apologize for that. And I'm not just going to buy things for the sake of buying them anymore. They have to be well thought out. Can I use this? Does it fit into my lifestyle? Almost like the does it spark joy kind of deal, which I've gone down that path before, and we need to get back to that. So blah blah blah. It's been 10 minutes and I've done no journaling whatsoever. I also got my speaking of new things. This is the wet paint palette that came with the Schminke set. Again, as you'll see, a few purchases will come in the next month. And then my purchasing and my hauls and all that sort of thing will slow down dramatically. Oh, my Ollie clip is stuck to the bottom. But yeah, so I will talk about that in the studio vlog and swatch it and all that sort of thing, but it's there. So I now have 2 of these babies and that will be me done. Done. I don't need any more watercolors. I don't need any art supplies whatsoever. I could literally create art for a lifetime and still not have run out of supplies. So there's the thinking. There's the thinking. So I'm going to get my bits and pieces out, get my photographs printed, and I'm going to do that on the computer so I can have them all into one piece of paper. I will have my sprocket. I'm also thinking all about all these sorts of things, like my sprocket and all that sort of stuff for on the go, and not having it for just general journaling, when I know I can print a whole page of photographs and only a little bit of paper gets not wasted because it can be recycled, but you get me. Oh my goodness, it's plaguing my brain to the point of insanity, guys. Like, it's just making me rethink everything about what we do and what I do. So it makes me sad and angry at myself for not doing this sooner. So I'm gonna stop blabbing on and just work in my journal and get my photos printed. I know there was some asking for the August in a larger form. You'll get that in the next couple of days, as well as the blank craft dates in digital form as well. I know that there was a lot of people asking for that, so they are coming up in the next day or 2. I'll probably get it done tonight and then get it up for you tomorrow. But yeah, this is going to be journal out month. It'll be a very journal focused month, and there will be a zine at the end of the month, hopefully, if I can get it all together. And we're going to start sending each other happy mail, snail mail, just mail, using what we have. I'm just using my photographs in a way that I love to in this style of journaling, and that's cutting around photographs and actually just focusing on the subject matter that I want to focus on, being my little teacup humans. And as you can see, I am using alphabet stickers, and that is because I've had these alphabet stickers sitting in my stash for going on a couple of years now, and I am being conscious of the things that I own and the things that I need to use now, especially these stickers that I had for Project Life and all that sort of stuff. And I've only got a couple of sheets, so it shouldn't take me that long to actually use them up, but I am making myself do it. And that also includes using washi tape in my collection. As you know, I have a drawer devoted to washi tape, and I did quite a lot of washi tape buying in Japan as well. And I have tapes that aren't black and white graphic, and I wasn't using them because I always reach for my black and white graphic tape. So I decided it was also time to start using those other prints in my journal as well. I don't want to be buying any more washi tape at all until I get through this stash. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I'm really going to make a conscious effort to use the tapes that I have, whether that be like sending out samples to you guys in Happy Mail and stuff like that, especially like things that I know that I won't get as much use out of, but are still really, really beautiful tapes. But there are going to be a few little Happy Mail, what do you call them, the testers, not even testers, sample cards of washi tape. I love that sort of stuff, and getting that sort of stuff from you guys, because it means that I'm not having to buy a whole tape roll, but I get to use some of the tapes. And then sometimes some of the tapes that I've gotten on rolls, I have I've gotten on sample cards from you guys, have become my favorite, and I've gone out and bought a roll of it. But I'm trying not to do that, but I am trying to use tapes that I wouldn't normally use, like this little vintage floral one. And I also have this other one that has like tree stumps on it. I think I got it in the stationery selection box, and it wasn't something that I would normally pick up. So trying my best. It's going to be epic trying to do all this, but I want to be more conscious of what I'm doing and being more mindful of what I'm buying and all that sort of stuff. And I'm just adding all the photographs that I have printed out for this spread. I do have quite a lot of zoo photographs between John and I, and so I picked some of the ones that I really loved and wanted to put in this spread, and then obviously other ones will end up in the spread for the Hobonichi, and probably a sketch will end up in the Hobonichi as well, because I wanted to do a lot of writing in the actual spread, which is why a lot of my photographs are actually on tip-ins, because I wanted there to be writing space, and I'm just trying to fiddle with all my bits and bobs. The fact that I'm a collage artist at heart, or like a majority of my work is collage based, is good because it means I'm using up all those scraps and things like that. I have a drawer devoted to the scraps and the papers and things, so it's good for me to use those things in my journal as opposed to throwing them away. And paper is good, it's recyclable, it's great, but I would rather use it than getting rid of it and recycling it. My brain is just not working. It's just not working. I just am overwhelmed by it all. This was a little that was the Monday mantra in small form, which was very much in my line of thinking of this whole process. And that little meerkat photo is one hubby took when one of the little meerkats was sunbaking on a trip that was just me and Hubs. We dropped the kids off at school, and the Hubs and I went to the zoo trying to get our money's worth with our zoo passes, and they were all standing up in the sunlight because it was morning and it's winter here in Australia, so it was very, very cute to see. This is that washi tape I was talking about. It's got the wooden tree stumps, something I wouldn't normally use. I would normally reach for a graphic tape, but like I said, making a conscious effort to use my tapes even though they're not black and white graphic. I was going to put some of my collage sheets in there, but I decided that I wanted that room to write, and I couldn't figure out where. I wanted this August on there, but it didn't seem to work in any sections without covering something up, so I decided in the end that I would just not put it on the spread, and slipped it into the page that I thought it would look nice. I did try really hard. I fiddled and tried to work out if I wanted to. It was just covering up too many things that I wanted to actually be visible from the page. So in the end, I tried. I was like, oh, I could go there, I could go here, and this is the whole point of auditioning things, is trying to see if it works. And in the end, it didn't even make it on the page. Getting use out of my black pens, because my studio has got ducted air conditioning. A lot of my pens are drying out purely from the heat, and that is a bit worrying, and you can tell that I'm getting a bit frustrated with my pens, and I think I'm not even sure which pen I end up using. I start and realized that it was starting to bleed through, so I switched over to, I think, a 0.8 Unipin fine liner, which don't bleed through on the Midori MD paper, FYI, if you're thinking. But the Tiki Graphics bleed on the MD paper, and the Pilot Multi-Ball also bleeds on the MD paper. But fountain pen doesn't, so that's always good. And I'm just putting a border around the beautiful Sun Bear, which was out having a play when we last visited, and his name was Mr. Hobbs, which I thought was just adorable. He's actually Lychee's favourite, and he was just having a play with his little bedding. I think he'd just been fed, I'm not quite sure, but I fell in love with Mr. Hobbs. There apparently is a female as well, but I haven't seen her yet. She could be at the Dubbo Zoo. I know that the Dubbo Zoo is much, much, much bigger, and we're actually planning a trip during the school holidays to go visit the Dubbo Zoo because our zoo passes give us access to visiting that one. So I'm just lettering badly the word his name, and then adding that, which is not something I would normally do, but I know that Lychee actually totally adores him, so I made sure that I put the couple of photos that I had, or the one photo that I liked the most of Mr. Hobbs. So it's a pretty basic spread. It's nothing out of the ordinary, it's no bells and whistles, and that is sort of to lead you up into the stripped back journaling, but even with the stripped back journaling, it is still a lot less than what you're seeing here. And this is one of the free printables from Melissa Burke that I mentioned last month, and I got some of them put onto acetate, and I loved the green. I loved all the green from the page, the pre-prepped pages and stuff, so I just decided to throw that over there to add a bit of, you know, a bit of something. And that is pretty much it. Pretty simple. All that it needs is a little bit of writing and some doodling, and it's pretty much done. Alright, I think this will probably just add my writing and stuff I've started. Because I have got watercolor down already, I don't need to worry too much about it being waterproof, so which is why I'm using my little Midori fountain pen that's got the ink cartridges that came with it, obviously, because I haven't worked out. I think Angie was having this problem. I don't know if she solved it or not, worked out how to get a converter in here so I can use waterproof ink. So if that is, I got an idea on that, let me know, because I obviously want to use waterproof ink if I can. And obviously this has all been watercolored, and then this has all been watercolored. So it means that I don't need to worry about putting, if the backs of the pages will get wet. I mean, I could essentially do a sketch or a drawing on here, but I don't really want to, because I want to journal about, see, this will be the difference in that, something that you won't visually see in the two journaling styles. This will be about my feelings and not really about the actual day itself. And it will be about my thoughts about how simply rejoining the zoo has been a triggering thing to trigger the change in what we're about to start embarking on. Whereas in the Hobonichi, I will be writing actually about the day at the zoo. And that's where this is different to my Hobonichi. My Hobo's all about actually documenting the actual day and documenting what happened and all that sort of thing. And that's more of a sort of that kind of deal, more directed towards family and just bits and pieces and stuff like that. So I want to make sure that this is something that actually gets finished, or I want to catch up, but I can't catch up by stopping I'm getting tongue tied. I want to make sure that I keep going from where I was, or the day and stuff like that, so that I don't get so far behind that I will never be, like, I'll never try again, if you get what I mean. I'll be like, oh, there's no point, I'm too far behind. No, I don't want to do that. I want to keep going. So I'm gonna have to sit down. There will be days where it'll just be like a glued in quote or something like that, because some days literally nothing happened. So yeah, that's currently what I want to be doing. We are here, so this would be Sundays, and obviously I've used a 2-page spread in my normal journal for the zoo, but that won't be the case. Obviously I only have one, but that is generally the difference. Is this is documenting the actual day and the events, whereas this is always like a reflection of my brain. And even though I'm using pictures for the actual zoo and things like that, it's got my thought processes vaguely linked to the zoo. And I don't usually document actual events unless they are like this sort of thing. And normally it's not me talking about the actual day. It's a lot of the time reflecting on things that I think about throughout that day. Like I'm always, whenever there's a journal entry that's about me, Sam and Sian, it's always reflecting and being grateful for female friendship, especially in my more adult years where it's a lot harder to make friends. You're obviously not in school, not in my work from home. I'm very isolated and that sort of stuff. So it's I'm always, you can back it in. It's always about appreciating female friendship in a time in my life when I thought my friend making days were over. Always, I can always back it in, and that's what it's about. That sort of thing. So this is normally my inner workings of my brain and how I think. I'm going to be talking about morning pages again in probably the studio vlog because it's come up a bit. People are chatting about it again. It's becoming having a little bit of resurgence, and so I've had a few questions about morning pages and that sort of stuff, but I don't want to make it its own video because it doesn't need one, so it'll probably be in your studio vlog or creative chat vlog. But yeah, I'm just going to do my pen work, like write my little feelings and things, but this is generally the look I will go for in this. And then in the actual hobo, I'll probably try and sketch the pygmy hippopotamus, which is at the zoo currently. It's a very, very rare treat that a little pygmy hippo was born at Taronga Zoo in Sydney, and she is adorable. So adorable. I literally squealed because I made it to feeding time, and I waited and waited and waited and waited and waited, and then she just came bounding out to where the food was, and I didn't even get a photo. I was that enamored by her. I didn't even think to grab my phone to get a photo. I was just enjoying the whole experience of seeing her. So I'll probably try my very best to do a watercolor of the hippo in here, and sometimes I do that in my hobo. We'll have little illustrations and the coffee cup and stuff. So every now and again I will have something that is hand drawn by me, my pen and stuff like that. So I thought about adding the little hippo drawing to the page, but it just depends on how many photographs I want to include. Probably won't be the same photographs, maybe the family shot because it's very family orientated. I have a few single shots of the kids that I didn't include in this spread that I'll probably end up in here, but that sort of thing. So it's just a way to show you how I can journal like the event or the concept of the zoo in two very different ways. But yeah, this month is all about journaling it out, returning back to your journal, getting reacquainted with your journal, and just I've missed my journal. I haven't been journaling properly for a little while, and I'm still not there yet, which is why my Journal Keeper series has taken me such a long time to get to you, because I haven't been journaling. And so the Journal Keeper series is more about returning to your journal, getting reacquainted and all that sort of stuff. So now I am going to sit down on the couch to finish filling out my thought processes on this. If you would like more videos, no, I won't even say that, because you'll get a little bonus creative chat video about the whole transitioning to low waste, zero waste as a bonus, because I did miss a video last month being sick. So I thought I would do a makeup video with that, but the actual proper series of it, if I do make it into a series, will end up on YouTube, which you guys will get previews to before everyone else anyway. But let me know if that sort of thing interests you, because I didn't know how to work it into my work, because I didn't know if it would be received well or not. So let me know if that sort of thing interests you, or if you just like to see it on YouTube or anything like that. So just let me know. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm gonna go and sit down, make another cup of tea, and go and finish journaling this page, and probably actually sit down and finish my morning pages that I hadn't gotten a chance to do. Yeah, I ended up putting my pen holder on here because I've got my other pen holder on my planner here, but I didn't want to put it on my journal. But I'm quite happy putting my pen holder there for now. But yeah, I gotta get this journal over and done with. The hump is killing me. It is killing me. I know there's a few people in the hump land, so I know know there's a few of us living this hub life at the moment. Have a wonderful day, Inkies, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!